Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I make bookish content. Today we're going to be talking about all the books that I read in July. So, starting with Haunting Adeline. Now, this was my first exposure to dark romance, and let me tell you, I was surprised by how dark it was. A lot of people warned me that I shouldn't start with Haunting Adeline as my first dark romance, and I can see why now. It was super good as far as like it kept my attention the whole time and kept me wanting to read more, and like it immediately started off interesting and grabbed my attention. I liked the spooky aspect of it. It's a stalker romance. I think the only thing I would say is that it was really sexual, and obviously I should know that going into a dark romance, I guess. But I kind of thought it was more going to be dark because of the stalker aspect of it. But it wasn't just dark for the stalker aspect. It was like really dark sexually and really graphic sex scenes. So if you're not into spice, I would not recommend this book. Although the storyline kept me really interested and engaged, and I really liked like the female main character and her relationship with her best friend, and her relationship with Zaid was also like just interesting, and the book is very addicting. I felt like icky reading it at times, especially in the beginning when there wasn't really consent with some of the sex stuff that was going on. Like, so that made me feel uncomfortable reading it. And even though it became a consensual relationship moving forward, I just felt kind of uncomfortable during a lot of the sex scenes. So I'm not going to be continuing the series. No like shame on anyone who likes it and wants to continue it, but I just felt like personally convicted reading it, and I'm not going to be continuing it. With that being said, I thought it was still a good book, because it kept my attention the whole time, and I don't know, I just enjoyed the storyline of it. If it didn't have such graphic sexual scenes in it, I probably would have continued the series, but because of the super graphic sex scenes, I just don't feel comfortable continuing, and it's just not my genre, I don't think. I don't think I'm gonna really be a dark romance reader. So at least I know that now. Although it's not for me, doesn't mean that it's not for other people, and I can recognize that it was a good dark romance book. Next, I read actually a friend of mine's book, Fight Like a Girl by Meg Hollow. This is a angsty romance book. It's kind of darker romance too, because it has some darker themes. It's a friends to lovers romance, and it has some darker themes in it, such as drug use, sex trafficking, violence, stuff like that. And it's just basically about the female character who has a dramatic upbringing, and it's about her relationship with her friend Hunter, and she works at a strip club and he is a fighter, and it just follows their relationship. I don't want to give away anything, but there's also some darker stuff that happens, and it immediately grabs your attention. That's what I really liked about this book, is that it gets right to the point, and it's not going to take forever for it to start like picking up. It immediately has like a lot of action and quick, fast-paced book. With that being said, I sometimes wanted a little bit more of character development, or more development of the couple's relationship. You know right from the get-go that they've been friends for a long time, they've known each other, and so you get that, like, you know that they're very close. But I'm just a more slow burn romance type of girl, and this was a little bit quick for me, but it was a really good love story, and I would recommend it for those of you that like more angsty romance stories that have a little bit more trauma in them and darker themes, I would recommend this one. Next, I read the new release of Jessa Hastings, Time of Your Life. It was super good. I have a review about it on my TikTok and Instagram, but basically it follows two famous main characters. The female main character is a supermodel, and the male main character is the lead singer in a rock band with his brother. And it's, if you've read Magnolia Park's series or Jessa Hastings books, you know that she writes really good like toxic romances, and like, I don't know, like with her characters, their relationship is so addicting to read and like passionate, but you also kind of like hate the male character because he just screws the female main character over so many times, but she's just so in love with him, and so she's like loving him even though it's hurting her. She's really good at writing that theme, and so there's a lot of that in this book where you're just like, why are you with this guy, like he's an asshole, but then you can see that they're like so addicted to each other and in love with each other that you want them to be together, but then you're also like, why is he such an asshole, type of thing. And it's just addicting to read. Like it's like one of those books where like you love to hate the main character. You like, and they frustrate you, but that's what makes it so good. And I read this book in like 2 days. Like it was super good from the get-go, and it was funny. Like it had some good humor in it, and I would highly recommend it. There's going to be a second book. It ended on a cliffhanger, so I'm excited to read the next book in this series. Next, I read an ARC advanced reader copy of another Meg Hollows books. This one is called Die Like a Man. This follows Liliana and Riker, and it is I would say this is a dark romance, and I would even go so far as to say it's a little bit of horror at times in this novel. So if that's not your genre of reading that you enjoy, then I wouldn't recommend. But if you like darker romance, you don't mind like violence, I would recommend this one for you. She does an excellent job at portraying mental health condition in this book. I don't want to like give away too much, but the female main character has mental health issues, and she does super good job at like putting you in the mind of the female main character and like what it would be like to have that mental health disorder. And it kind of gives me like the Joker and Harley Quinn vibes, this book, as far as the main characters go. Like they're both like, the female main character is like really crazy, and their love is just like really crazy, but like it's just similar to Harley Quinn and Joker, where it's just like, wow, these two aren't staying together. So if that's your type of book that you think you would enjoy, I would recommend this. I also read the third in the Clipped Wings Inked Armor series. This is the second one, but I don't have the third physical copy of it. But the first two of this, Clipped Wings and the second one's Inked Armor, follows Tinley and Hayden. The third book is actually about their friends, which I'm like blanking on their names, Sarah and Chris, I think. I didn't like it as much as the first two. I really, really loved the first two in this series, between Tinley and Hayden. I would highly recommend reading those two if you like angsty romance. It follows like Hayden, who is a tattoo artist who works across the street from Tinley, who just moved into town, and she is working at his aunt's bookstore across the street from his tattoo shop, and it just follows their relationship. It's really cute. He is like a bad boy, all tatted up, and like kind of like curses like a sailor, like that type of character, and she's more like shy and quiet and like and is a student, but they're both going through some traumatic things that happened to them in their past, and it's just about their relationship and their trauma. And he actually ends up being her tattoo artist, and he has like a rule where he does not want to hook up with his clients, but he finds that hard to follow when he starts working on Tenley. So anyways, it's about, the first two are about them, and I love those books. But the third one, I didn't like it as much. It follows their friends. There are a couple of like short novellas about Chris and Sarah, which is what the third novel is about. And I didn't read those, so I'm thinking maybe if I had read those, I would have liked it more. But I just felt like it starts off with them already in a relationship, and there's no like build up, right? You don't get to know their relationship and like how they fell in love or anything. It just already starts with them having been in love, and then a lot of the book actually focuses on like their individual lives of stuff that's going on with them. Like she is a stripper, and it kind of, or no, she's not a stripper, I'm sorry, she works at a strip club. She's like a waitress, and so it just follows like some of the drama that's going on with her at her job and between her and her boss. And then the main male character, Chris, he has his mom is like messed up and like alcoholic and has like an abusive boyfriend or whatever, and he is trying to help his sister who's living with his mom at the time and helping her get out of that situation. And so a lot of it is to do with those two storylines of like what's going on with her at her job, and then what's going on with him with his sister and his mom and stuff. And there's like a little bit of romance between them two as a couple, but like it's not the main center of the book isn't their relationship, whereas like the first two books is mainly, I feel like, a lot of the relationship between Tenley and Hayden. And yes, there's some about their trauma that they've gone through, but a lot of it is the build up of the relationship between the couple, and I was missing that in this third book. It was still good, rated at 3 stars, but it wasn't like as good as the first two, and I wasn't really like rooting for the couple because I didn't feel like I cared as much about them. And finally, Kingdom of Ash. I finally finished Throne of Glass series. I have been reading this series since April, and this book is a masterpiece. It just wraps up all of the books so perfectly. She just does a fantastic job of weaving together all of the different POVs from all of the characters that you've loved throughout the whole series, and just weaving the whole story together just like a masterpiece. And I feel like I'm gonna do a whole book review just focused on this book and getting into like more of like this like a spoilers review, so that I can talk about more of certain things that happen in this book. But for those of you who have not read this, I highly recommend the series, and for those of you who have read it, you know what I'm talking about. And it was so good. Just very action-packed. Like, it's the war that's going on in this book, and just so much character development and development of the relationships and between the couples in this book, and it just all comes to a head, and it's just so beautifully done and such a good finale to this series. So I'm very thrilled to be done with this series. Obviously also sad that I'm having to leave this universe, but I'm excited to start some other fantasy novels that I've been wanting to read that I've held off on while I've been finishing this series. I don't like to start multiple fantasy novels because I like to like enter into one world at a time basically. And so I'm excited. I think I'm gonna read the Zodiac Academy series next, and that's another very long series, but I've heard such great things about it. And so yeah, I'm finally done with the Throne of Glass series. Highly recommend. Definitely a 5-star, and took me a while to finish it, but it was so engaging the whole time, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. So those are all the books that I read in July. How many books is that? 6 books. That's pretty good. and most of them were on my TBR. Kingdom of Ash was on my TBR. The third of the Clipped Wings and Inked Armor series was on my TBR, and Haunting Adeline was on my TBR. So I read 3 out of, I think, 4 of the books that were on my TBR. I didn't get to Zodiac Academy because I thought that I was going to finish Kingdom of Ash like before the end of the month and start Zodiac Academy, but it took me a little bit longer than I realized. And so Zodiac Academy will be probably in August. But thank you guys for watching this video. Please subscribe if you like bookish content and want more. And like this video, it really helps me out. But I will see you guys in the next one. I'm going to try to be uploading every Wednesday. So see you guys then.